Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Still we're in Surat Al-Moominoon. Yesterday we talked about the first few ayat recited yesterday. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the true believers, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ هُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ رَبِّهِمْ مُشْفِقُونَ, talking about their qualities, that they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they believe in Allah's ayat, they don't associate it in His worship, they do whatever they do with fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that they pray, they make sadaqah, they make siyam, and they are still afraid that they have not fulfilled the obligation and that Allah might not accept. And then Allah says, أُولَٰئِكَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرَاتِ وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. These are the people who are speedy in the goodness, and they are the ones who will reach, because everyone gets whatever he works for, right? If you study hard, you are the one who is going to succeed in the exam. Allah says here, these are the ones who are putting an effort and trying to be speedy in goodness. وَهُمْ لَهَا سَابِقُونَ. And they indeed are the ones who are going to reach first, because they did the effort, right? And then the following ayah, Allah says, وَلَا نُكَلِّفُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Meaning that I do not put taklif. Taklif means obligation above the ability of the people. Meaning reaching that, if you link this between this and the previous ayah, it indicates that reaching this high level of sensitivity and fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not beyond human capability. You might think, are these angels or what? These people who are giving salah, siyam, and sadaqah and everything good they're doing, and they still fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah might not accept. That's a very high level of iman. Someone might say, oh, this is beyond human capability. Allah says immediately after that, وَلَا نُكَلِّفُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. I do not ask of people what they cannot do. Everything mentioned here is within the people's capability. If they do it in the right way, they will reach these levels. You're not going to reach this level just like this, wake up in the morning and you find yourself in this level of iman. Well, if you keep on doing the acts of iman, you will reach this level, right? SubhanAllah, recently I read somebody talking about his dad, and somebody lives these days. What I used to read about Sa'id ibn Musayyib. He never missed Takbirat al-Ihram, the first takbirah, for any salah for 40 years. Sa'id ibn Musayyib, one of the tabi'een. 40 years, he says, لم يؤذن الإمام إلا وأنا في المسجد. He says, the adhan never went up except I'm in the masjid before the muazzin. For 40 years, Sa'id ibn Musayyib. 40 years. I thought, that's almost impossible for us, right? And I come and read about, somebody writing an article about his dad. He says, my dad, he says, I cried. Sorry, he says, I wasn't sad when my dad passed away. This is the title of the article. He said, my dad passed away before, like maybe in the middle of the night, like about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, but I know that my dad has not missed the adhan for 70 years. 70 years, he is always in the masjid at the time of adhan. 70 years. I thought to myself, subhanallah, that's even more than I've heard about Sayyid Musayyib. His dad became blind, I think in his 20s or something, and he lived until he was 90 something years old. From his 20s, he keeps the Salat Jama'ah, never missed the adhan for 70 years. Subhanallah. And of course, if somebody with this righteousness, he will be doing other stuff like siyam, qiyam al-layl, praying at night. He says he died about maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. He says, and he felt that his dad has done good for himself. He said, I did not feel sad. He said, and then shortly after that, the alarm clock went off. This is his alarm clock to go for tahajjud in the middle of the night. He says, I cried when I heard the alarm clock, because he remembered him that every night he gets up around this time to pray. Subhanallah. So لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها. And then وَلَدَيْنَا كِتَابٌ يَنْطِقُ بِالْحَقِّ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. He says, and everything a human being does is registered in a book that does not lie. Everything as you do it. Even if it was an atom's worth of goodness, yes, even if it was an atom's worth of goodness, it is in that book. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And you never are mistreated or treated unjustly. But look at the other people who are not on this way. He says, بَلْ قُلُوبُهُمْ فِي غَمْرَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا وَلَهُمْ أَعْمَالٌ مِّن دُونِ ذَلِكَ هُمْ لَهَا عَامِلُونَ. He says the other people are again in ghamra. We talked about the ghamra yesterday. فَذَرْهُمْ فِي غَمْرَتِهِمْ حَتَّى حِينٍ. Ghamra means they are immersed in their other deeds that they do, meaning the people who are not on this way, they are busy with other things. وَلَهُمْ أَعْمَالٌ مِّن دُونِ ذَلِكَ. They are busy either with worldly affairs, or with sins, or with kufr, or with bid'ah, or anything else that is not of Islam, right? But they are so occupied by it, they cannot hear the goodness, and they cannot see the light. بل قلوبهم في غمرة من هذا ولهم أعمال من دون ذلك هم لها عاملون. Before I finish today, I will mention one more ayah. After talking about their excuses why not follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah says, أم يقولون به جنة. The ayah recited in the first ayah tonight. أم يقولون به جنة بل جاءهم بالحق وهم وأكثرهم بالحق كارهون. Allah said, did they not read the Quran أفلم يدبروا القول أم لم يأتي أم جاءهم ما لم يأتي أبائهم الأولين, or were they presented with an affair or a matter that is strange to them and was never mentioned before? It was mentioned before. This affair of Jannah, affair of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Jannah and Nar was mentioned throughout humanity through the Prophet. So it's not a new thing. قُلْ مَا كُنْتُ بِدْعًا مِنَ الرُّسُلِ, right? أَمْ لَمْ يَعْرِفُوا رَسُولَهُم. Or did they not know their Prophet? He's bringing up the excuses that people might bring up and responding to them. أَمْ لَمْ يَعْرِفُوا رَسُولَهُم. Did they not know their Prophet, that he is a Sadiq al-Amin, that he is trustworthy and he is honest? So all these are false allegations, right? And then he said, أَمْ يَقُولُونَ بِهِ جِنَّةً, or do they think he is crazy? Because that's another thing that they said about him, and it's also false. But look at this, he says, بَلْ جَاءَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لِلْحَقِّ كَارِهُونَ. He says the matter is that he brought them the truth while they are in a state of not wanting the truth. Like for instance, somebody wants to do something wrong, and then he finds that the Quran tells him, this is wrong, you have to correct yourself. So either he is going to listen and then that's going to go against his desire, or he maybe think, I'm just going to not listen and stay away from this for now because it annoys me, it makes me unhappy, it's not fun. So he tries to avoid the Quran. And this is how it is. The kuffar, all their life is wrong. When the Quran tells them, oh, you cannot do this, you have to do this, you cannot do this, they don't want to listen from the beginning. بَلْ جَاءُوا بِالْحَقِّ وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لِلْحَقِّ كَارِهُونَ. The following ayah, وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهِنَّ. Someone might ask, so why doesn't the Quran or the Islam in general come according to what people want, according to their desires, so that everyone gets to go to Jannah? Someone might ask this question. Why not make everything halal, for instance, so that everybody goes to Jannah according to our desires? Allah responds in the following ayah, وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ مَا فِيهِنَّ. If al-haq, the truth, was to follow their desires, لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ مَا فِيهِنَّ. Everything would have been corrupt. It says not only the people would have been corrupt, because imagine I get to do what I want, you get to do what you want, he gets to do what he wants, and what you want differs with what he wants, and with what I want, Just like when a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said to him, I need your permission so that I can go and do zina. So then if it's zina, I want permission to go and have unlawful relationships with women. They wanted to change that part of Islam. Prophet Muhammad said to him, أَتَرْضَاهُ لِأُمِّكِ? He said, would you like someone to do the same with your mother? He said, no. He said, do you want someone to do the same with your sister? He said, no. And he brought him your أختك and your daughter, and he said, no. He says, the same. Everyone doesn't like it. This is a hawa. This is his desire. And someone else has the same desire in his women, right? And so how can life go this way? Everybody will be fighting. So this is the corruption that will happen. That's one example of one law that Islam came with. Imagine all the other laws regarding money, regarding relationships between people, regarding war, regarding peace, regarding so many things. How much corruption would happen if everyone followed falsehood? وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ مَا فِيهِنَّ. Not only will the people become corrupt and life will become corrupt, but even the heavens and earth, if they were to follow the desires of people. I want it to be sunny today, and you want it to be cold, and he wants it to be rainy today. As-samawat wal-ard, the heavens and earth. Everyone wants his own desire. I want my garden green today. I don't want it to be all snow. And his garden wants it the other way. He wants it to be watery today because it's dry. And then imagine the whole universe will collapse if Allah was to follow our desires in as-samawat wal-ard or in our lives. And this is the meaning of this ayah.